what they are spent out for. How can an INEC be talking of building a hospital? INEC, incidentally, Nena, you know, they have staff in all the 36 states of the Federation and Abuja. Are they talking of building this hospital around all the 36 states, or they just want to build a hospital in Abuja? How many of INEC staff are in Abuja that need hospital? What INEC should have been talking of, not even INEC, what Nigeria government should be talking of, is how to make Nigeria hospital functional so that you and I can walk in there. Then INEC can now be talking of, okay, they have a HMO, that their staff can get to any hospital and be able to get the best of treatment. Why will INEC be including getting a hospital for themselves in a budget? As far as I'm concerned, that's fraud. They should face their core mandate. Do you know what it means to give a country an election? This is a new administration in INEC. Is this how Amokuton is going to lead INEC? We saw the monumental failure of Yakub Mahmoud. Even though Nigeria government started rewarding him with national honor and making him an ambassador after he left. But Nigerians today knows too well that Mahmoud Yakub does not have a good name before Nigerians. So Amokuton should, as respected as Nigerian, applauded his appointment, he should not come up with things that will now begin to make us to that thing. They should quickly find a way to expunge that hospital matter out of that budget. Then be that at its main, Nena, do you know, the budget, the timetable they released is loaded. It's loaded. By the time you now begin to talk of appropriation for hospital, you now begin to talk of getting the contractor, begin to talk of supervising it, your attention is divided. Tomorrow we will now begin to hear glitch again, which you don't want to hear in 2027. Why are they trying to divide their own attention? There is a Ministry of Health that's supposed to take care of that. Even Abuja, the federal capital, has a federal capital authority that should be talking of all the general hospitals in Abuja should work adequately so that INEC staff that are in Abuja or any other part of Nigeria, even this respective state, there is no state in Nigeria that does not have a federal medical center. This is what they should have even, okay, let us work with Minister of Health and say, okay, please, we have staff. They are not even the only one that have staff that need a hospital. Nigeria generally need hospital. So that should be taken out. Then for the timetable, we have seen that they have outlined what they are going to do this year. That should be enough for them to work on, not other things that will distract them. They have said continual voters registration will commence in March. And it's going to end in January 2027. Do you know what that means? They should be concerned with the number of PVCs that are there. People have not picked. Is it too difficult for INEC to even say, let us begin to find a way to begin to dispatch PVCs to people? It's not too much. If I see that one in the budget, I will say, okay, these people are concerned about, erasing voter party. They wanted to capture everybody. You can begin to think of something of this nature abroad. Things of this nature can be used as mail. You get it at the front of your house, you pick it and take it. It should bring in better innovation because the number of PVCs that are lying unpicked by Nigerians is so much in all the 36 states. It should bring in those kind of new ideas that Nigerians will see they are serious. Okay, is it now Nigerians may come out now to go and talk of registration, but sometimes after registration, many of them will not go and pick it. I knew what it took my wife to get her PVC in 2022. She traveled to one of the villages in Lagos here, interior villages, towards Badagry, because she was determined to get her PVC. Why don't you find a way to relieve Nigeria of such things and say, okay, we are starting off another voters registration, but these are collection points that will be easier for people to easily pick up their PVCs. Then you're talking of party primaries. Remember, we are talking of national election, and this is a general election. It's not just an off-season election. We're talking of one state. And remember, even this same year, Osun State is coming in. Ekiti State is coming. You have not even thought of all these ones. These loaded duties you have at hand. You are talking of a hospital in your budget. So think of how to let Nigeria begin to see difference in our election. By July 1st, primary starts. We have up to 18 political parties in Nigeria. We don't know how many of them will fly candidates yet, but at least I know up to 10. That's for the national, for the presidency. Then you talk of the whole National Assembly, 360 members of House of Rep. It's not just 360. Remember, all the political parties are going to have aspirants. You understand? that they are going to, and INEC is to monitor all these primaries. Then you have 109 House of Senate members, House of Senate. Then before you have the 36 states of the nation having state House of Assembly, not even the state governors. You see their hands are filled up. Then you are looking for diversionary things again to get distracted. Then the next thing we are going to hear is that, oh, because they concentrated on figments, then the main object. Why are you chasing shadow? We don't want to hear a repetition of what happened in 2023 general election again in Amutonse-led INEC. So he should retrace his footsteps and face his core mandate. The core mandate of his office is to give Nigeria credible election.
Wow, thank you. Okay, but let me ask you, with all you've seen so far, do you think that INEC is operationally ready to give us credible elections?
If they drop this figment, they should be able to give us credible election. Because what they are asking for, IREV is already on ground. 360-something billion was given to Mahmoud Yakub in 2022 to 2023 to conduct 2023 election. Yeah, so there are already structures on ground. Remember, even this card, the PVC, you know, the beavers machine. So many were brought in. Then when we were talking about, oh, will the beavers be enough? Those are the areas now. Where did they not measure up to standard before? How many beavers? How many of them are functioning? Are we reconfiguring it? These are the things they should be talking about. Then, if the IREV, you know, that glitch that we announced to us last time, okay, if there are areas now that we think that, oh, the network is not good enough for us to transmit, because we are talking of election result transmission, you know, in real time. That's what the Electoral Act is heading towards now after the protest this week. You understand? Then, how do we work with NCC, Nigeria Communication Commission, to make sure that we show up networks in areas where there may be failure, so that we will not hear the language of glitch again? These are concerns, and these are the things that will capture the Nigerians' mind more than a hospital. More than a hospital. Many of them, they even I know if he's not feeling fine today, he will not remain to treat himself in this nation. Why is he trying more than the bereaved? If there is anything, it should not even be the one that should be mentioning hospital. It doesn't belong to Ministry of Health. We have Ali Pate, the Minister of Health, that should be talking about Nigerian hospitals are not working well. Not himself. He should be concerned now with how will Nigeria, every part of Nigeria, have network to transmit the result real time. He should be concerned with how am I going to be talking of the welfare of even the ad hoc staff? How will material be able to move to pulling boost in real time? Nena, these are some of the things, constraints we have always having in our election. That there are some polling booths, 1 p.m. materials have not arrived yet. Will it continue from that continue in that trajectory? He should be talking about, okay, riverine area. Can I work with Nigeria Navy to help me to move materials into riverine areas? Okay, if there are other areas that are so difficult, how do I work with Nigeria Air Force? To fly is done in other countries of the world. To fly in materials, there should be this collaboration now. Wherever Mahmoud failed, he should be able to proffer solution to them. Not coming to start adding to the work of INEC, especially those that don't belong to INEC.
Okay, I want to ask you a question, but I'm going to come back to you. I want to ask you something in line with us printing our materials outside the country. Is it not high time that we print our materials, you know, in Nigeria? What is stopping us from printing our materials in Nigeria? These are some of the innovation we should be putting in place. We have Nigeria printing a meeting. That even goes as far as supposed to be printing Nigeria currency, as sensitive as Nigeria currency. Why can't that one? Why can't we even come in collaboration with such an organization and say, okay, I don't want a situation where we will not be spending hard-earned dollars or whatever for forex to begin to print outside. Can't we empower Nigeria printing a meeting and say, print this thing for us, you know, locally? Let's empower them. These are collaboration we should be talking about. Why can't we do our things domestically and also come up with results? We go to print in South Africa. This is still an African country. Is the technology? Can't we import technology? With this billion he's mentioning in his budget, he should be able to say, let's collaborate with some of these organizations, these agencies in Nigeria, and get it better. By January 2022, we'll be hearing that even the foreign company printing the materials have not brought them into Nigeria. Then before you know, you now begin to talk of, we are now beginning to think of what way forward. Getting way forward, we now begin to see fake printing and the original printing. We'll not be able to know which one is which.
This at the time is okay. Nigeria Printing and Meeting Company, let us begin to work together. I want everything, my own administration, I want everything to be domesticated, and these are my plan. Roll out your plan, not hospital. It's an aberration for INEC to be talking of hospital.
Let me go back to our virtual guest. And Prince, I'm sure you're still with us. You know, before now, we've seen some, I would call it hidden campaigns or subtle campaignings going on. And even when INEC has not even opened the window for campaigning. But now that this timetable has been released, do you think that it will reduce uncertainty, or would it intensify early political tension and, intensify the political tension we already have in the country?
Okay, thank you very much. And to be honest, I think it's only going to heighten the tensions of whatever has been going on, because as far back as the first, I don't want to sound political right now, I'm not, but then as far back as the first year of the current administration, we could already see low-key campaigning already happening. There were billboards, there were roads that were designed with Asuwaju 2027. These are things that we have already been seeing even before now. And now that the INEC has officially come and say, okay, this is the timetable that we're going to use, I think, honestly, it's only going to intensify the efforts that have been downplayed in the past, coming from 2 years back and last year up until this year. I think it's only going to really heighten. There's going to be a lot of tension moving forward. I think there's going to be a lot of decamping, and I think we're really in for a show with this one. And to just be direct, I don't think things are going to be as calm as we expect or as calm as we would like. I think the political landscape is about to get really tensed because of now that the INEC has rolled out the timetable for the 2027 general election.
Okay, while you were speaking earlier, you kind of talked about the electronic transmission, which has been like it's been in the news. It's been a tug. I don't want to use a tug of war, but it's been a back and forth. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's been a back and forth amongst the senators, amongst Nigerians, and and all of that. But I want to ask you, and I'm going to also throw this question to our guest in the studio: electronic transmission. Do you think that is the only thing we need to make our elections free, fair, and credible? Please unmute your device, please.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't think that's the only thing that needs to change. But speaking of one of the major things that Nigerians are clamoring for, we want to see our results in real time. It is possible. It is doable. If you really look at the statistics, it takes about 600 to about 800 kilobytes, not even up to 1 megabyte to transmit the EC, the election form with the results for people to see. So that issue of that excuse of there is no network, it doesn't hold water anymore. And I think we also have some issues regarding some voters. When I say voters, some citizens that are kind of disenfranchised because of the role they play during the election. And that's one of the reforms that we, the Altes from Yaga Africa, are trying to push, because there are a lot of people, election officials that work. I myself, I have been the presiding officer of one of the elections as far back as some 2, 3, 4 years ago, where we tested the electronic beavers of technology when the INEC first introduced it to us. And I remember that I wasn't able to vote that day because I was working on election day. So this is something that INEC needs to look into. They need to look into. I don't know if it's possible to create a day or two before the election, where these people can, security agencies, police, NSCDC, people that will be working on that election day, people that are expected to work on the election day, because of their job, they shouldn't be disenfranchised from participating and voting in elections. It's their basic human right. So I believe INEC should also, the electronic, the transmission of results is there. But then another issue that needs to be looked into is the provision of a time where these people can vote I mean, right now I've talked about the election workers, the security officials. There are even some prisoners that still have voting rights. So these people, I mean, if you calculate all these votes together, I mean, you'll be talking about millions here, because it's not just. I mean, Nigeria is a lot. We are very really populated. So if you put in these people in different states, combine it together, you will see that there's some political parties or some political aspirants are actually losing credible votes that would actually be able to make a difference in the general election. So this is also another issue that the INEC needs to look into, in addition to the live transmission of votes.
Okay, thank you. Let me come to you, Mr. Elvis. I wanted to talk about this particular question. You know, there's just been so much clamoring about this electronic transmission, and I'm wondering, aside from is electronic transmission going to make our elections free, fair, and credible, or are there other factors that we need to ensure that our elections are free, fair, and credible?
You know, election has to do with pre and election day itself and post. These three must work together for an election to be called credible. Pre is the preparation of the campaign. The ruling party must give that atmosphere to other political parties to also have a fair share in having adequate campaign. Not a situation where you were at a billboard and because your party is not the party that owns that state, then the governor will go and pull it down. You know what I'm talking about. So that conducive atmosphere for other political parties to also have that right to campaign, to reach out to Nigerians, first of all must be created. I'm talking about the pre now. It must be created. Political rallies, they must have a situation where another party will say, oh, we want to use also stadium. That is when the governor will not tell you he's renovating it. That stadium is locked up, you cannot use it. Do you understand, Nena? That must be kicked against. The releasing of security for them to also move. They also need security to move. Not only the ruling party should line up convoy because they are campaigning. They need it. These are pre. They must be able to gather for their meetings. Not a situation where they are gathering, then the ruling party will now release hoodlums to go and disrupt their gathering or disrupt their campaign, tear down their billboard and all this. All these ones must be worked against. The ruling party must not allow this. Give a conducive atmosphere to everybody to have a fair play, because politics is game and politics has to do with choice. You can't change my choice. Even if you are bullying me, the person I like is the person I'm going to vote for. That's true. Then get it to the election proper itself. Like what we saw in some states last time, that people were driven out of the queue because they said you are not going to vote for the so-so party. That must not allow to take place. It must be checked. Because if you are doing that, you are inviting anarchy. You cannot disenfranchise somebody. Because the right to vote and be voted for is my own right. That's franchise. It's a constitutional right. So I'm on the queue and I want to vote for somebody. Somebody is coming to tell me, leave the queue. Then you are attacking me. That must be checked. The ruling party must be able to secure everybody that want to go and cast their vote for their candidates. It must not be the ruling party that I love. Whoever I love to vote for, I must have that right to go and cast my vote unhindered or molested. That must be done. Then coming to the role of the umpire itself, that is the INEC. INEC must make sure that, first of all, electoral materials must get to the polling booth as at when due. I was an observer in 2023 general election, Nena. I was one of the observers, independent observer. And I know to that day, especially that day of the presidential election, as early as 6:30, Nigerians were already in their respective polling booths. There were some areas that as at 11 we never got materials. That must not, these are things that discourage people from coming out. So that must be checked. We are talking about credible election now, things that make election to be credible. By the time electoral material now come in, maybe 2 p.m., then you now the vote now spill into 8 p.m. in the night, things will begin to go wrong. Because I remember in some places in the last election, some people have to go and start bringing out their generator to assist. INEC doesn't have generator.
But they were the cause of the problem. INEC must be able to make arrangements with good transport system. I don't even know why INEC is talking about using the National Union of Road Transport Workers, knowing fully well that these members of this National Union of Road Transport Workers, in some states, they do the bidding of the sitting governor and even the president. Not even this kind of National Union of Road Transport Workers we have in Nigeria today. We know who the leaders are and how they got here. What we tell INEC must discourage that. Look for other means of other transport systems that you can use that are much more credible, that are much more refined. Not going to rely on buses from, Agbero until they release their bus or whatever. When their chairman called them and said, this is the person we must work for, that's where all of them is going to work for. They can decide to sabotage the area they know that an opposition party has strength. Material may get there late. You know what that will mean? These are some of the things we'll be talking about. I'm talking of the re-election day now itself. Then post. After we have finished voting, we are now expected to hear results. 3 a.m. announcement of who won must be discouraged. Because as at 3 a.m., I'm sleeping and I'm snoring. I finished voting. I don't want to start hearing that, when I now wake up, they say president has been announced. We have to discourage that. So that's why we are talking about let the technology play its role as expected. Nena, if the technology play its role as expected, even before I go to bed, I've not seen the winner yet. It's not been announced. But with my collation from the IREV and my collation, my mind may be addressed that, okay, this person is coasting towards this victory. I followed Ghana election, December 7th. I already know that Mahama is coming back. I said, Mahama is coming back. Mahama was also just like our former president, Goodluck Jonathan. His boss died, inherited the remaining position, he contested and won. But when he was coming back, he lost the election. Exactly what happened to Goodluck Jonathan. But Ghana now saw that this man is not bad. Let us bring him back because the person they voted for that unseated him disappointed them. So before I went to bed that day, I already see that Mahama is coming back. And I was happy for his victory because I was already seeing everything as expected. I follow politics because that's the only thing I know. So now a situation where Nigeria is talking about we may not have network. Don't preempt it so that day you not go and switch it off and say you already said it was not going to. How can the city senator be telling us that 9 states does not have network? After 26 years of democracy, and the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy has been having budget for 9 years. And we have a very savvy young man who is the minister for this current administration. And he has been doing his best. He has laid underground cable for so many states that we're not having networks since he came in. He's one of the credible, Dr. Bosun, one of the credible ministers we can still speak for in this administration. This is the time to make sure that we give him an assignment. All these states that we think that network is going to fail, let us find a way to show them up. He can do it. He has a budget. Let him work in collaboration with INEC. So that by the time Nigerians go to sleep, they are already aware that before they even went to bed, they have seen so much of this thing on screen already. I follow America election. I don't live in America. I follow South Africa. I already saw the ruling party in South Africa that there was Nelson Mandela's party. What's the name now? Was already going off. I said, wow, what's going on with ANC? Because I could see it, I could read it and see it in Nigeria here. Why can't Nigeria's election be seen by other African countries and even countries beyond Africa? If Ghana can get it right, South Africa can get it right, even Kenya can get it right, we must be able to get it right. Then immediately after that day, then post-election, when the result is announced, let it be that the result is the result that everybody knows, we already know. That acceptability, Nena, douse tension. It douse tension. Nobody went to court in Ghana. But when there are doubts, the court festers. And at the end of the day, democracy, which is government of number, now become a government that is going to be given to us by only 5 judges or 6 judges sitting and say this is not the president or this is not the governor. We must discourage that. I'm talking of post-election now. We must try as much as people to get it right from the election day itself, so that the post will be credible between you and I and can say, no, actually, we actually knew he was going to get the victory. These are some of the areas we should be talking about, Nena.
Okay, before I move to the next conversation that we have tonight, while you were speaking, you reeled out some countries that we know
yes,
that are getting it right, or that have gotten it right.
Yeah.
But why do you think Nigeria hasn't yet gotten it right? Is it about our leaders? Is it our leaders? Is it corruption? Is it our leaders that are not?
It is greed and corruption. The politicians deliberately do it. An average Nigerian politician is very selfish, is very greedy, and is full of manipulations. So they do all these things because they know too well. You know, this is supposed to just be a very little issue. If you are a student and you didn't read, you will not pass. You will not pass. When we were in school, I don't know what's going on now. When we were in school, if you don't read, you will not pass. So a politician who did not do the bidding of his people for 4 years ought not to be returned. But because they know that they have not done the bidding and they want to go there by all means, they now tend to bring in manipulations. That's why you see it has not worked in Nigeria. Because Nigeria politicians are not accountable to the people that voted them into power. They're only accountable to themselves and their family. That's what Nigerians must be discouraged. That's why we are clamoring on let the system work so that Nigerians can begin to throw out those ones that never did their bidding for the first opportunity they were given. 4 years. If you don't do my own bidding for these 4 years, you should be thrown out. You are not expected to come back. That's why we are calling on credible electoral system, electoral acts that will give Nigerians that leverage, that opportunity to be able to say, this is the person I voted for, and this is the person, and this is the person, and my result counted as expected. That's the issue, Nena.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Elvis. Let's move to the next conversation, and of course, we are delving into security now. The federal government has launched a new security operation following a deadly terror attack in Kwara State. The renewed offensive, codenamed Operation Savannah Shield, involves the deployment of military personnel, police units, and National Forest Guard to reinforce security in vulnerable communities. Authorities confirmed that at least 75 people were killed in the attack, prompting immediate federal response. In a related development, the federal government has ordered the redeployment of police officers from VIP escort duties to frontline security operations to reinforce manpower and boost security presence in Kwara, Plateau, Benue, Kogi, Nasarawa, Niger, and the Federal Capital Territory. Let me come to you first, Prince. Oh, okay. I heard that our virtual guest is out. So let me come to you, Dr. I said Dr. Elvis.
Maybe I'm heading.
Maybe you're heading to Doctor. Let me come to you, sir. Okay, what do you make of this Operation Savannah Shield? Would you call it like a rebranding of an existing counter-terror operations, or what do you make of it?
No, we have had so many of these operations.
Yeah.
We have Operation Hadikai.
Yeah.
We have Operation Lafia Dole. We have so many of these operations that, you know, they have been given different names. But the major thing there is that it is not just the name, it is the action that follows the name that we should be talking about. Now, we saw what happened in Woro and Nuku community, you know, in Kwara State that led to this Operation Savannah Shield. All those things that led to the killing of those Nigerians, over 200 Nigerians that died, you know, massacred unjustly, you know, avoidable death. With this new Operation Savannah Shield that is brought up now, they should be able to work with intelligence. They should be proactive. Not when it happens, then maybe it happened again, another operation, whatever will be set up again, you know. We don't need that. We don't need a situation where it is after the whole thing has happened, Nigerians have died, before the president will now begin to come up with whatever operation, or the Nigeria Armed Forces. Now that this one has been, you know, inaugurated and come into operation in Kwara State, and all that fringes around Kwara, Niger, they must be able to do real-time intelligence security gathering. They have to gather intelligence so that if there is any other group, because I heard that there is another group now that have written a letter to a community in Kwara that they are coming. So this very operation, Savannah Shield, should be able to know where that letter, such information is coming from, and those that are behind it. And it may not even be the community that is mentioned. They may know that the attention is of the security forces is on that community. They may go to the neighboring community. So it is an encompassing thing. They should be very proactive. Reactionary matter should be discouraged in security issues. Then again, many of government spaces in Nigeria, Nena, this should be discouraged. The governors that are having so much now since the removal of fuel subsidy in Abuja, the humongous FAC allocation that they get, what are they using it for? We were told last time that even if the security has actually took off from Ilorin, before they would have gotten to Woro and Kunu, it would have taken up to 4 hours. A journey that is supposed to be less than 1 hour, because there are no roads. The governors should put their full step down and develop their respective states. You know, there was a time last time when the president said, I was having a meeting with them and I said, please go back to your state and wet more ground. Wetting more ground is let development get to the grassroots so that people can feel it. Then the president have actually gone to the Supreme Court, has given local government autonomy, but we have not seen it work. If local government works, Nena, some of these government spaces will be covered up, will be filled up. That is the government that at the lowest ebb, the government with the people at the grassroots. There is nobody in Nigeria that did not come from a ward. As I sit here, I know my ward. I'm from Ward 9, Eastern Central in Edo State. Do you understand? I know that after the ward, I have a councillor in my ward. And I have a local government chairman. My councillor should be able to know what I need in my ward and report to the chairman of my local government. So if the local government is now having an autonomy and they now get their allocation directly from federal government, the local government chairman must be held accountable for some of this on development in his own local government. So all these on government spaces, Nena, if local government works, it will reduce. These are things we'll be talking about. It will help security. If the armed forces can move with time and get to where there is trouble, that sunset and sunrise killing in Woro from 6 p.m. in the evening to 7 a.m. in the morning would have been averted. At least within that range of almost 12 hours, they would have been able to get to that place and rescue and help these people. So these are some of the areas that everybody must speak to, not just talking about Operation Savannah Shield. They can't do it alone. Then Nigeria Air Force should also be, whatever is their challenge, if the ground troop cannot get there early enough, the Air Force should also be at the rescue of Nigerians. So if this Operation Savannah Shield is made up of all the armed forces, those, especially Nigeria Air Force, should be activated at all times. That even if the ground force is moving in, let this one first of all go and move in to rescue Nigerians that are under attack. These are some of the areas that we should be looking for in this Operation Savannah Shield.
Okay, let's look at this redeployment of VIP escorts.
Yes.
There was a time the president gave the directive that all VIP, every police officer that is on VIP duty should be withdrawn. And then we saw that afterwards, the IGP withdrew like 11,000. Yeah, and then now, just at the wake of this this particular incident in Kwara State, now there's like an enforcement again of this redeployment. Yeah. Do we have to wait until something happens before we ensure that whatever directive that has been given begins to work, or it's obeyed?
No, we are not supposed to wait. That's why I was saying that security must be proactive. We must be proactive in security matters. We are not supposed to wait. Even this one that have been, this 11,000 that have been brought out from carrying Madame handbag and carrying Oga's suitcase, now they have to be retrained. Many of them have been out of formation. They've been out of their real core operational duties, so that they will not just go and become victims in the hands of all these terrorists. I hope they have retrained them and let them get them back to the real rudiment of what they are supposed to be doing. Because for so many years, some of them are now beginning to carry Madame's handbag into parties and markets. And some of them, the other ones are carrying a gas briefcase to airport and whatever. So these were not their duties any longer. So if they are not retrained to become operational officers, they are going to be victims to all these elements. So redeploying them is a good one. But I hope they have given them the necessary refreshment training that will bring them to line, so that we will not begin to record casualty from our armed forces. That will act as moral reduction to others. If anything that will demoralize the Nigeria armed forces should be checked at all costs. whether military, whether armed for police or whatever, because nobody sees a fellow person that we were standing together now is already laid down and is dead. Nobody will be happy about it. So before they talk of all this redeployment to all these troubled states, I hope they have given them a refresher course to bring them back to what they were originally trained for before politicians snatched them and made them to become domestic servants.
Well, excuse me. Well, that's the way that analogy is very.
Yes. That's what they have been doing.
The analogy is so
they
crude.
become a school run,
Wow.
going to drop children in school,
So,
madam's my supermarket and market, or gas briefcase to the airport and whatever. That's what they've been doing. And you know, they were happy doing it, but now they have been brought back to their real job. So they should be given refreshers training so that they can function properly.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai says the opposition must remain resolute in his effort to unseat the government of President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 general elections. He made this declaration following an attempt by security agencies to detain him at an airport. While describing the airport episode as unfortunate, totally unnecessary, and probably criminal, El-Rufai stated that the incident strengthened his determination to work towards Tinubu's removal from office. Meanwhile, Atiku has criticized the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, describing it as partisan, following the failed attempt to arrest El-Rufai. What's your opinion about the attempt to arrest El-Rufai before we now move on to this, whatever it is that he's saying?
Well, if he has skeleton in his cupboard, it's not bigger than the state. This is a country with a functional constitution. It can be picked up. But the only thing I didn't really like the way they did it, the security agencies, was that they know his address. He's already coming into the country. He's not going out. So you can allow him come in, then get to his house and pick him or invite him for whatever questioning. You know, now turning a sacred place. An airport is a sacred place. That El-Rufai's supporters now have to invade the airport. Where is it done in the world? Where is it done in the world? When you now start hearing listening to and say disrespect nation, you know, giving us different name, the America Donald Trump giving us different name. It is all these people that are bringing us to this disrespect that we get all over the world. People now came to the airport because you hear your leader is coming in and the security agency said they want to arrest him. Then you now went and start shooting him. It's not done anywhere. This could have been done maturely and more civilized. Let him get to his house. Is he not coming in? He's not going out. Then you can send invitation to him, and if he refuses to honor your invitation, then you cannot do otherwise. We saw sometime when they went to Bogo, the former governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha's house, ESCC. Remember, we saw all the shenanigans they played around the former governor of Kogi State, what is former governor of Kogi State. We saw Yaya Bello. We saw all that happened. So let him learn and let him get to his house. Then pick him up to answer for some questions. Not what happened in the airport. It was very shameful for a nation.
But you know, some persons have said that this is a political witch hunt. Do you see any?
No. Forget about political witch hunt, Nena. If there's any political witch hunt, let him be arrested and let them charge him to court and let the court do his job. Do you understand? If there is anything, do you know that politicians always come up with narrative? Is he the only politician in Nigeria? Of what relevance is he? There are bigger politicians than El-Rufai. Why has Obi not been picked up? Even Atiku Abubakar, why has he not been picked up? If he has anything to answer against the state of Nigeria, he should be called for it. It's not bigger than Nigerians. And Nigeria as a country. So anything that has to do with political witch hunt is always a consultation by the politicians to encourage that kind of sympathy from you and I. The same you and I that they have rendered to this level that we are. So don't sympathize with them. There is nothing like political witch hunt. If there is anything against him, he should face the charges. He should go and face himself and defend it. He has lawyers. There are lawyers. So he should not be the one that is talking about political witch hunt. Because I don't even see how politically relevant he is now that anybody should be talking about witch hunting him. If you are against the state, he has questions to answer. The security agencies should be allowed to do their job.
Well, let's have a concluding thought before we draw the curtains on today's program.
We are entering the bigger era of Nigeria politics, come 2027 politics. The ruling party must make the atmosphere to be conducive for every political party
that want to bring out candidates, aspirants and candidates for the election to have a fair play, not a situation where the ruling party will not be intimidating others because they are the one that has the mantle of governance. It must not be done. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The people must be allowed to participate fully in who governs them. The democratic system of the country, the people owns it. So the ruling party must not, hijack it and make it like we are not become a motor park thing. It's only touts in the motor park that fights, destroy campaign ground, destroy meetings, destroy billboard. Those must not be allowed to happen as we are entering the era now. Now that the timetable has been released. That's my parting shot, Lena.
Thank you very much, Mr. Limihele. Thank you very much for being a part of it. And thank you, Prince, for joining us all the way from Abuja. That's all we have for today's episode of The Issues. We explore the challenges facing Nigeria's politics and, of course, electoral governance. Thank you for being a part of it. Don't forget to tune in next time for more in-depth analysis and discussion. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on the latest news and insights. Until next time, stay informed. I am Nenna Ndomdioto. This has been The Issues on Voice of the People Television, where the future faces forward. Please don't forget to stay tuned for Hashtag with Vivian by 8 p.m. Don't go away.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please sport.
In a world where power shapes with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe. Hunger no get religion.
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. On Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react. Understand.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
In the heart of Ebonyi State lies Afikpo North, the birthplace of a woman whose name has become synonymous with integrity, excellence, and resilience. Born on November 15, 1958, Professor Nnenna Oti's journey from a serene town to national prominence is a testament to dedication and unwavering principles. Nnenna's academic journey began at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where she earned a first-class honor degree in soil science in 1982. Her brilliance was evident as she emerged the best graduating student in the Faculty of Agriculture, receiving the Federal Government Merit Award and the UAC Prize for Best Student in Agriculture. She furthered her master's studies in soil science, specializing in soil microbiology and biochemistry from the same university in 1986. In 1987, she obtained a postgraduate diploma in irrigation engineering with distinction from Katholieke Université in Belgium, courtesy of a European Economic Community Scholarship. In 2002, she earned a PhD in Soil and Environmental Conservation from FUTO, winning NUC Award for Best Doctoral Thesis in Nigeria that year. Professor Oti made history as the first female vice-chancellor of FUTO in 2001, scoring 75.5% in the selection process. She officially assumed office on June 19, 2001, succeeding Prof. Francis Eze. Under her leadership, FUTO witnessed significant advancements including improved research quality, the launch of gender-inclusive policies, and strengthened industry partnerships for student training and employment. Professor Nnenna Oti gained national recognition as the Independent National Electoral Commission returning officer for the 2023 Abia State election. Despite facing immense pressure and bribery attempts, she upheld the integrity of the electoral process. Her declaration of Alex Oti as the winner was applauded nationwide, with her statement, "If I perish, I perish," becoming a symbol of courage and integrity. Professor Oti's unwavering commitment to truth and transparency earned her a widespread acclaim. She was celebrated as the heroine of democracy, with various organizations and institutions recognizing her contribution to academia and national development. Beyond her administrative roles, Professor Oti's legacy lies in her dedication to mentoring the next generation, promoting gender equality, and advocating for good governance. Her story serves as an inspiration, demonstrating that integrity and excellence can pave way for a transformative leadership.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
Well, hello and welcome to News Hour on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche. But before we begin the news, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Here are the headlines. Kano market destroyed by deadly inferno. President set for Monday tour. Also, ADC slams a president over insecurity. National Assembly reconvenes a national plenary on Tuesday. Security operatives bust a billionaire drug rings. El-Rufai seeks NSA clarification on Italian procurement. Well, we'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Mr. Familoni, and here's to view PTV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arara, my name is Made Kuti and you're watching BOPTV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOPTV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Now the news in detail. We begin on a tragic note as a catastrophic fire has destroyed Singer Market in Kano. Over 1,000 businesses were lost and 4 residential buildings were completely razed, with damages estimated at more than 5 billion naira. Market chairman Junaid Zakari confirmed that 7 people remain missing. Search operations are focused on the Gidangilas area, with responders sifting through debris to locate the missing. Governor Abba Yusuf visited the scene and requested federal air support and modern firefighting equipment. President Tinubu has directed a full investigation into the recurring fires, as this is the second major outbreak at the market in 2 weeks. Vice President Kashim Shettima will lead a federal government delegation to sympathize with victims and pledge financial aid. Traders are appealing for urgent help to rebuild their livelihoods ahead of Ramadan, while security forces remain on site to protect what remains. Well, away from that report, President Bola Tinubu is scheduled to travel to Adamawa State on Monday for an official engagement. The visit will see him inaugurate key infrastructure projects and meet with stakeholders. According to a statement by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the president will commission several projects in Yola and Jimeta. These include a newly constructed 8-lane Galadima Aminu Road, linking Gimba to the state capital. Other facilities to be unveiled include a model school, a multi-purpose hall, a remodeled high court, an officers' residential complex, and a renovated government house. The president is also expected to hold meetings with government officials and traditional rulers. The Adamawa trip comes barely 2 days after his visit to Kebbi State, where he attended the Argungu Fishing and Cultural Festival. During that visit, he also commissioned major infrastructure projects and reaffirmed federal support for development initiatives. Meanwhile, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has criticized President Bola Tinubu's visit to the Argungu Fishing Festival. The party says the trip was ill-timed amid rising terror attacks in Kwara State. ADC officials highlighted that terrorists are tightening control in parts of the state. They warned that hundreds, including women and children, remain at risk while security gaps persist. The party called for immediate government action to rescue all abducted citizens. They also want a transparent briefing on the true number of victims and enhanced security along key corridors. ADC leaders stressed that continued kidnappings threaten national stability. They urged authorities to act decisively to prevent further expansion of terror activities in North Central and Southwest regions. Over now to the National Assembly, which is set to reconvene plenary sessions this Tuesday, February 17, following a brief recess. The clerk to the National Assembly, Kamoru Ogunlano, issued a directive on Sunday, urging all senators and members of the House of Representatives to resume at 11 a.m. While the official announcement did not specify an agenda, the session is expected to tackle several urgent national matters, and the chief among these is the harmonization of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026 which remains a key priority for lawmakers ahead of the 2027 general elections. The House of Representatives is specifically expected to deliberate on an emergency sitting regarding the Electoral Act. Sources indicate that lawmakers may reconsider adjustments to the 2027 election timetable to prevent scheduled activities from clashing with the 2027 Ramadan period. In addition to electoral reforms, the Assembly is under pressure to conclude the defense of the 2026 budget proposals. The Tuesday session will likely see committees fast-tracking reports from various ministries, departments and agencies to maintain the January to December budget cycle. Well, switching some gears now, the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has filed a lawsuit against the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. SERAP accuses the CBN of failing to account for 3 trillion naira in public funds, including over 629 billion naira paid to unknown beneficiaries under the Anchor Borrowers Program. The suit filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja seeks a court order compelling the CBN to explain the whereabouts of the missing funds. The Auditor General's 2025 report flagged potential diversions and unapproved expenditures. SERAP also alleges questionable spending by the CBN, including billions on interventions and vehicle purchases without proper records. Officials say some of these actions could have affected food security and transparency in the country. Lawyers representing SERAP argue the move is necessary to hold the CBN accountable. The court is yet to set a date for hearing in the case. Also in the news, the NDLEA operatives have arrested a China-based Nigerian businessman and 2 foreign nationals at the Abuja and Kano International airports. These suspects were apprehended during outbound screening after body scans revealed they had swallowed a combined total of 236 drug wraps. In a separate high-value operation, Nigeria Customs Service officials intercepted 22 packages of suspected cocaine worth 1 billion naira along the Seme border. The illicit consignment was discovered hidden within a specially modified Toyota Highlander during a routine patrol of the Badagry corridor. The Customs Service has officially handed over the seized billion naira haul and the arrested driver to the NDLEA for further forensic analysis. Officials state that this successful handover demonstrates a growing and coordinated effort between agencies to stifle cross-border smuggling. Authorities have also launched follow-up operations to dismantle the international recruitment networks linked to these syndicates across several states. The Controller General of Customs and NDLEA leadership have reaffirmed their commitment to tightening surveillance at all major exit points to protect national security. Some politics now. Supporters of Peter Obi under the Obedient Movement have started early mobilization for the 2027 elections. Their focus is on ensuring that last election mistakes are not repeated. The movement recently held activities in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, and is strategically aligning with the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Leaders are working to strengthen structures from wards to local government areas. Obedient coordinators are urging members to register, organize, and mobilize at the grassroots. The message is clear. Disciplined mobilization is key to victory in 2027. According to Eunice Otanko, the movement's national coordinator, victory is not about luck, but structured engagement. He said when supporters organize, vote, and act together, they can transform the political landscape. Over now to more stories. As the Nigeria Labour Congress, is threatening nationwide action over the persistent collapse of the electricity grid. NLC President Joe Ajaero says 10 years of privatization have left Nigerians paying for darkness. He criticized private power operators and the banding of electricity into A, B, and C categories. According to him, the system is now institutionalized extortion that punishes ordinary citizens. Ajaero also dismissed plans to spend 3 trillion naira on bailing out power firms as a ruse. He insists that the government must return the electricity sector to public control. The NLC is calling for a national stakeholders summit to chart a clear roadmap. Their goal is affordable, stable electricity and an end to the cycle of blackouts across the country. Now, former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has asked the Office of the National Security Advisor to clarify reports of a toxic chemical procurement. He is specifically concerned about thallium sulfate reportedly being imported from Poland. In a letter sent on January 30, 2026, El-Rufai requested information on the purpose, supplier, and the regulatory oversight of the chemical. He stressed that transparency is crucial for public safety and trust in government institutions. El-Rufai also asked whether hazard mitigation plans and public health assessments had been carried out. Copies of his correspondence were sent to NAFDAC and the Nigeria Center for Disease Control for oversight. This development comes amid heightened political tensions and a recent alleged attempt to arrest El-Rufai at Abuja Airport. As of now, the NSA's office has not publicly responded to this request for clarification. Let's bring it back to Lagos, where the state government has issued a stern warning to traders in Ikorodu over repeated sanitation violations. Notices have been sent to markets and plazas, giving occupants 72 hours to comply before enforcement action. Affected sites include Ladija Market, Better Life Market, the Ikorodu Ferry Terminal, and several plazas along MBC Road. Loma officials say routine inspections revealed persistent infractions that must be addressed. In a separate operation, the government has begun a massive bulk waste evacuation at Alabaragu along the Lagos-Badagry Expressway. Heavy-duty carriers are clearing illegal dumps, and the cleanup will extend to Okukumaiko, the Lagos State University median, and Agric bus stop to Mile 2. Dr. Muyiwa Gbadegesin, Managing Director of Loma, urged residents to cooperate and maintain cleanliness. Authorities say these measures are part of a broader campaign to improve public health and keep Lagos free of illegal waste. Now, joining us virtually to analyze these stories is public affairs analyst Ismail Oladari Ogunsola. You're welcome, Ismail.
Can
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me tonight.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Unfortunately, we are starting on a tragic note as a catastrophic fire has destroyed Singer Market in Kano. Thousands of businesses were lost and 4 residential buildings were completely razed, with damages estimated at more than 5 billion naira. So this shows that Lagos does not have a monopoly of fire-raising markets and all. Do you think, though, that these are foreseeable events that could be forestalled? Would you say this is negligence? How would you call this, really?
Yeah, for incidents like this, it's a two-way thing, especially in this part of the world. Number one is the fact that most of these incidents, whether it's in Lagos or across Nigeria, anywhere in Nigeria, they are more preventable than accidents. Because if you look at the way we handle most of our maintenance, our infrastructure, and our emergencies, you understand that most of these accidents can actually be prevented. And when they then happened, as we all know, accidents happen anywhere in the world. It's not a peculiar case. So when they happen like that, our second problem is also how to mitigate the casualties from these accidents. So there are no emergencies anywhere. So a house can be burning for hours, and there won't be any form of emergency or water corporation that can put out the fire in hours. And this also speaks to how government has consistently failed us in different sectors. So there's no sector that we want to talk about. There's no incident that we want to talk about that we won't see an iota of government failure in them.
You know, what you just said has brought to mind what happened not too long ago in Lagos. In fact, it happened at the end of 2025, you know, and it was the Great Nigeria Insurance Building on the island. I don't know if you remember it. And that fire,
Yes.
that fire burnt for days. We remember the Omatu brothers, 3 siblings died in that fire. They were alive for like 5-6 days crying, calling for help. Even though we had, you know, emergency responders, it looked like there was no state-of-the-art tools to rescue these people. Over 15 people died in that case. So it speaks to what you're saying, right? That in a way, there might be, you know, negligence. But again, you're saying sometimes, or most of the times, it is the failure of government. Even though Lagos State government has come to say that most of the time is the failure of, you know, residents or the businessmen. So I don't know if you want to speak to that before we move on to the next story.
Yes, of course. You know, government will always say all these things. But here, what we see, or what we know, because, you know, most of all these accidents, we see them because we live in these communities, especially in Lagos here. So we see them firsthand. And nobody can argue, only the government will argue that it is more of negligence. No, it is not more of negligence. It is more of government failure. Because take the instance of house collapse inside Lagos Highland. Most of these houses, they are not fit. The structures are not fit to be erected in most of these places. But who gave the go-ahead for all these builders to build? It is the government. Right? When such building up collapse, you want to blame the people for negligence when you are the one that gave the approval for these buildings. So the instance is like that. So it is very inaccurate to say it is more of negligence. It is more of government failure. Really.
On that note, we move on to the next story. This time around, President Bola Tinubu is scheduled to travel to Adamawa State on Monday for an official engagement. Now, the visit will see him inaugurate key infrastructure projects and meet with stakeholders. Now, it's interesting that the president has been touring states, especially in the north, right? And it looks like there is so much infrastructural development. But last Friday, the Arewa Consultative Forum had come out to say that a serious humanitarian crisis is looming in the north because they're saying there is hunger in the land. So which is it? Is it that the north is thriving or the north is hungry? What do you think, Ismail?
Yeah, you see, the only good thing about this tour is the fact that, you know, throughout this year, the government has been globetrotting, junketing, traveling across the globe. And he has spent less days in Nigeria. Now he wants to tour the country again. So I guess he's staying within the country. So that's the only positive thing about it, right? But then I also I question most of our government actions from the point of why are they doing this? Number one, for the fact that there's no trust between the people and the government. So even when their intentions or their actions are right, it is wrong in the eyes of the people. And most of the time, the deliveries are wrong as well, right? And you can point at many things they've done since this administration came into power. Whenever they talk about doing anything, even if it's a new policy they are trying to enact, look at the intentions behind them, right? So you will see this tour now, it will be more of 2027 campaign, not even to address any real issue or any hunger issue or anything. It will be more of campaign because election is around. You need to now fraternize with the people to secure their votes again. Right? So it's crazy, man.
Well, you know, this trip to Adamawa is coming on the heels of just 2 days after the president visited KB State and, of course, attended the very popular Coup fishing festival. Now, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has criticized President Tinubu, saying that, why did you go to Argungu Fishing Festival? That it was the party is saying that that trip was ill-timed because it was coming amid the terror attacks in Kwara State. Do you think the ADC is spitting fire unnecessarily, or do you say this is right on the money, that they are right for what they're saying?
Of course, CDC is right. And this is also buttressing what I said earlier. So Tinubu will be more of campaign. So where you can go to address real issue like Kwara, he won't go. But you will definitely favor Agungun Festival, where he, can speak to the emotions of the people, and the people feel like, he's actually coming for us. But he knows that that one is less risky. But the one that is very, very important, he will not make such visits. But the second part of this is that while ADC is right for this critic, but then they are not better too. I mean, ADC is made up of former PDP and former APC, so they are not better. But then most time let's ignore the messenger and look at the message. The message is spot on. The critic is very spot on.
I was going to say that how objective or how feasible is it for President Tinubu to visit each state that has an insecurity problem? Say, for example, it happens in Benue State today, it happens in Kogi State next week, it happens in Kwara State 2 weeks from now. How feasible it is for the president to keep visiting this site? So is it okay for his soldiers, his foot soldiers, to do the visiting on his behalf, seeing that the army is trying to curb terrorism? I'm just, trying to pick your brain, see if we can come at this from all angles. Yeah?
So, number one, myself or we in our party, we actually don't care about visitations, right?
What's your party? What's the name of your party?
AAC, African Action Congress.
Oh, okay.
So we actually don't care about these visitations. Whether you are visiting or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is to address the problem, whether you are there or not. But in his own capacity, he's not addressing the issue, he's not visiting, and that's where the problem lies, right? And secondly, it is very visible. Bola Ahmed Tinubu can visit everywhere that needs his urgent attention and intervention. I mean, for someone who can go to countries outside of Africa, different countries within a month, he has visited about 10 countries. If going that far is easier for him, then visiting states within Nigeria every day should be more easier. So yes, definitely it's very visible if it is in fact needed. But then, of course, like I said, action is more than the visitations. Because if you go there, whether just to pacify the people and they get to be attacked again tomorrow, no. Let's tackle the insecurity. Forget whether it's visit or not.
All right, so that's a valid argument. You just put up a smile. But there's something I want to push further. You said that the president does not visit, and also he's not acting as he should. But then again, take a look at the number of times abductees have been released. A number of them. It happened in Kaduna. It happened in Ilorin, where worshippers, about 80 of them earlier on, had been kidnapped. And it happened in a number of places. Don't you think this is a win for the administration? Don't you think this is the government trying to ensure that things are done the way they should be done? Just asking.
No. And this is a capital no. You see, when we say all these things, we are trying to normalize abnormalities. All these abductions, kidnappings, terrorism, they are abnormal. They should not be happening at all in the first place, in the first instance, right? So whether they are now releasing abductees, whether ransom are being paid or not, that's not what we are saying. We are saying that this is becoming too much. It should not be happening at all. And that is the action I was speaking to when I said you should act.
Right.
So we should not be recording this number of terrorism again. And that is what is needed, not they've been released. That's not a solution.
Yeah, but you mentioned ransom payment, and you're not buying that at all. But are you not even concerned that abductees are released, but that the perpetrators are not publicly brought to book, except if it's done secretly and all. It's something analysts like yourself have said is very bothersome. I don't know if it concerns you.
Exactly, that's a major concern, because this is the reason why it happens tomorrow again, and it goes on. Because when these people feel safe, these terrorists feel safe, they feel like there's no consequences for what they are doing. There's no consequences for this terror, how they're terrorizing the people of the country. So when it happens, the government goes and begin negotiate with them. Of course, they release the people because they know they will kidnap them again tomorrow. Right? So until we wipe them out, kidnappings, terrorism will not stop.
Is that your recommendation, to wipe them out? Because,
of course,
in other words, I'm asking, what's the way forward? What do you think is the way forward?
Of course, we must wipe out every person, whether it's a group or an individual terrorizing the people of this country. And as a matter of fact, that is the most important duty or job of the government,
well,
to
it's
protect life and properties of the citizens.
Can I come in here? Today, we hear that the first set of 200 American troops have landed in Nigeria. 3 jets actually brought them into the country. Does this fill you with optimism? Do you think, the collaboration between Nigeria and the U.S. is going to really spearhead some momentum when it comes to securing the nation?
No. I feel very terrible about this. I feel very bad about this. I'm very sad about this, because history, we are students of history, and history has shown to us that every country that USA has intervened like this before, they left them in worse situations. Libya is there, Iraqi is there, Irani is there, Afghanistan is there. A lot of countries under the world, the so-called global south countries. So this is what we are saying. We cannot surrender our sovereignty to the US on the guise of helping us to fight. No, it is not done that way.
All right.
This is imperialism 101. And it is understandable that this, our own government, they are puppets to these Western powers. So they won't do what they are supposed to do. They will kowtow and they will deliver Nigeria to their Western masters. And this is what is happening in our very own eye. And I believe that every Nigerian of conscience should frown at this and should frown seriously at this.
What do you mean this administration is a puppet to Western masters? How did you come by that?
I didn't get that.
You said this administration is a puppet to Western masters. How did you arrive at that conclusion?
Exactly, that's what it is. Because if you study Nigerian politics very well, you see that what we've had since 1960 is another form of colonialism, which we call neo-colonialism. And it is so because if you also look at the recent elections that we've had, you see how all these our presidential hopefuls, they run to places like Chatham House to campaign. I mean, have you ever seen a UK Prime Minister or a USA President come to Africa during his campaign to campaign to some people in here? No, but our own presidential hopefuls, Tinubu, Peter Obi, Atiku, Kwankwaso, they all run to Chatham House to campaign to their master. Master, this is the program I want for the people. What do you think? So it's only puppets that does that, right? And this is now showing glaring in what is now clearly in what is happening now. They are now delivering what they've promised their master.
Well, this is a gloomy forecast you just, painted. But I'd like for us to move on to some other topical issues. The National Assembly is set to reconvene plenary sessions this Tuesday, talking about February 17, following a brief recess. Now, the clerk to the National Assembly issued a directive on Sunday urging all senators and members of the House of Representatives to resume at 11 a.m. You know, this is not the first time this is happening, right? There was an emergency session last week when electors were saying that you must give us real-time transmission of results, from the polling unit to, to the INEC HQ and all of that. And so there was an emergency session, and the lawmaker said, okay, Nigerians, this is what you want, we give it to you, but there must be manual backup. This time around, after INEC released the schedule, the timetable, some electorates had come out to say that there's a clash between the general elections and the holy season, talking about Ramadan. And it seems that the House of Representatives particularly is going to be discussing this particular matter. Do you think this is chief among the issues, reason why the National Assembly is going to reconvene again on Tuesday? You know, what do you make of this?
I mean, you see, let me even state this before, because we have always stated that this National Assembly should be a part-time job. Because look at it very clearly, these people have no real business going to the green and the red chamber every week. It should be a part-time job. And, you know, it's also speaking to why they are coming back for plenary. It's also to say that for everything they do, or for every reason they come for, whether it's emergency plenary or not, it's always backed with some personal interest that doesn't even concern the people, that doesn't benefit the people in any way. Look at the plenary that made the illegal IGP of police legal. It was an emergency plenary like this. So this is what they use emergency plenary for. They are dubious things, they are interesting that doesn't speak any good for the people. And this one is also no different from that, right? So I don't feel any. I don't have any.
You don't have much to say about this. But let's push it further, right? You talked about, you know, the legislators, them legislating being a part-time business. Some Nigerians have come out to say that there is no need for a bicameral legislature, talking about the Senate and the House of Assembly, and they've actually in the past pushed for a unicameral legislature. Some African countries have done it. Do you see that ever happening in Nigeria, or do you think actually it's what we need? Unicameral, either the Senate or the National Assembly or the House of Representatives, just one house. Do you think that's what Nigeria needs?
For the record, the people who proposed this is the African Action Congress. And what we proposed was that we should have a unicameral legislature, most preferably the House of Representatives, and that it should also be a part-time job. All of them should have their daily job. They will only be coming to the House for important bill discussions, and they will be paid allowances for the number of time they are coming for plenary. So it will be a part-time job. After these legislations, they will go back to their daily jobs. We only pay them allowances for every plenary they come for. That was our position. That was our proposal. And with that, they will be more efficient. Instead of going to Abuja, wearing Babaniga every, sharing money, sharing SUVs, it's all a waste of resources.
So is your party still pushing for that?
These have been our proposal since 2019.
So where is it now? Which stage is it, your proposal? Are you still pushing for it? Is your party still pushing for it?
Exactly. It's still part of our proposal and manifesto.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Pushing for that.
Let's quickly talk about the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, which has filed a lawsuit against the Central Bank of Nigeria. SERAP is accusing the CBN of failing to account for 3 trillion naira in public funds, including over 629 billion naira paid to unknown beneficiaries under the Anchor Borrowers Program. You do remember the Anchor Borrowers Program, right? It was meant to encourage rice farmers to produce, a large amount of rice so that Nigerians will not have to pay too much for rice. I don't know if you say that was a successful program. But then again, the SERAP is coming out to say that it was a scam and that monies that were budgeted for were not used and that they must be accounted for. What's your take?
Yeah, like you said, the Anchor Borrower program was a disaster. It was a scam. just like the rice pyramid scheme they did also. All of these are scams. And I will not even be surprised if the figure Serap is putting out is even short of what is actually missing. You understand? So this is not new, but I just hope that we can only hope anyways, because we know that these people who are involved in all of this, they also have the judiciary in their pocket. So I just hope that Serap will be able to push this to a reasonable conclusion. But I dare say that if Serap could put out this figure, I'm very sure that it is more like a half of what is actually missing.
Yeah, but,
right?
do you see?
Because
Okay. Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No. You said it was like, it will be like half of what's missing. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I was saying that, do you see anything coming out of this suit that Serap has filed? Do you see anything coming out of it?
Exactly what I'm saying. We can only hope because even if everything is true and there are reasonable evidences to back up all this claim, we know what happened. How many corruption cases have been prosecuted successfully in this country? I mean, look at the case of Yaya Bello. It's still there. Yaya Bello is still traveling around the world for pilgrimage and all that, right? So it is just so almost like an impossible task to prosecute corruption successfully in this country of today. But we can only hope, and we also applaud Serap for always pushing this. We can only hope they prosecute this successfully. But then we know what has always become of cases like this.
Yes,
They abandon it someday.
What you've done is to pass a vote of no confidence on the judiciary. But I'd like to find out what you think about the NDLEA, if it's going to be a vote of confidence or no confidence. Because the NDLEA operatives have arrested a China-based Nigerian businessman and 2 foreign nationals at the Abuja and Kano International airports. The suspects were apprehended during outbound screening after body scans revealed they had swallowed a combined total of 236 drug wraps. Now, this is not the first time we are hearing the NDLEA make such a huge bust. Are you passing a vote of confidence on the NDLEA?
Yes, of course. All these our agencies, most of the news that comes out from these our agencies about what they've been doing right, they are mostly performative. And I say that because at the end of the day, all these things that they are seizing and all that, you don't hear the last of it again. After a week now, everything dies down and they go back to they go back to status quo, right? These people they are apprehending now, you won't see how they were prosecuted, how they were sent to jail. You won't see any of that, right? So it's performative in the sense that they will just push out this news, whereas they'll go back door to settle within themselves and they'll release all these perpetrators, So you can't even vouch for all these our agencies. And it's so sad. But until they arrest someone and they prosecute the person, and we can see everything transparently until the person enter jail, before people can start trusting on having trust in all these agencies again. And that's our sad reality.
That doesn't sound like a vote of confidence to me, because it started by saying you were passing a vote of confidence on the NDLEA. But before I let you go, though, quickly, let's do some politics. Yeah, supporters of Peter Obi under the Obedient Movement have started early mobilization for the 2027 elections. Their focus is on ensuring that last election mistakes are not repeated. I do know that you're not a member of this movement. You're also not a member of the ADC. But hey, objectively as an analyst, what do you make of this?
Sorry, I think I lost you at the point.
So the Obedient Movement is engaging in mass mobilization to ensure that, in their words, the mistakes of last general elections is not repeated again. The mistakes of last general elections are not repeated again. So I was saying, I know you're not a member of this movement. You're also not a member of the ADC. You're also not a member of the LP. But what do you make of this mass mobilization that the obedient movement has embarked upon?
Yeah, the first question I asked them is, what mistake exactly are they talking about? Is it the mistake of running under Labour Party, or the mistake of not protesting after they said they rigged them out? Which of these mistakes they don't want to repeat that makes them to start this mobilization? When even it is glaring this time around, more than 2023, that their principal, Peter Obi, might not even be on the ballot. I mean, on within the ADC, it's clear that it is not even 40% chances for him to get the party ticket. So I'm wondering, what mistake are they talking about? Because if it is the mistake of not protesting after the election, they are not on the ballot yet, right?
So you think they should have actually protested, or they should have gone?
And I don't think
you think they should have gone to the court.
I also don't think that if that was the mistake, I also don't think that this is the reason why they made that mistake. The only reason why they made that mistake was the lions being led by a sheep.
I'm trying to wrap my head around that, but that's the much we can take. Ismail, thank you so much for coming aboard News Hour today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we've been speaking with Ismail Ogunshola. He is a public affairs analyst. You're watching News Hour on Voice of the People TV. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Now, Edo State is grappling with a deadly Lassa fever outbreak, with 6 lives already lost and 28 infections confirmed. Health authorities are raising the alarm as the virus spreads rapidly in key communities, prompting the government to activate emergency response measures to curb further transmission. Our correspondent, Rhoda Johnny, has details.
The state government has declared a Lassa fever outbreak after confirming 28 cases and 6 deaths. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Cyril Ochemone, announced the development on Friday during a press briefing in Benin City. The government said the spike in cases, especially in Esako West and Esan West local government areas, shows sustained community transmission, requiring urgent intervention.
Following a careful epidemiological review and a risk assessment by the Edo State Ministry of Health, I hereby formally declare a Lassa fever outbreak in Edo State. As at today, Edo State has recorded 28 laboratory confirmed cases of Lassa fever with reported 6 deaths. The recent increase in cases, particularly in Esako West and Esa West local government areas, signals sustained community transmission that requires immediate, coordinated, and escalated response. Edo State government have been proactive, knowing that Lassa fever outbreak has become periodic by donating Lassa pack to Ira Teaching Hospital. Now, what is Lassa fever? Lassa fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic illness caused by Lassa virus. It is primarily transmitted through contact with food or household items contaminated with urine or feces of infected rodents that we also call mastomys rats. There's also human-to-human transmission, which can also occur, especially in healthcare settings where infection prevention measures are not strictly observed. Early symptoms may resemble that of malaria or typhoid. You could have weakness, headache, but can also rapidly progress to severe illness if not treated early. I urge all Edo residents to maintain proper food storage and environmental hygiene, avoid contact with rodents, and eliminate rodent breeding sites. Report early to the nearest health center. if experiencing persistent fever or responding to malaria treatments. Healthcare workers must strictly adhere to infection prevention control protocol. Early presentation saves lives. Lassa fever is treatable when detected early.
Authorities have activated all pillars of the Edo State Public Health Emergency Operations Center to coordinate response efforts under Director of Public Health, Rhoda Johnny, BOP TV News.
Rhoda, thank you. Now, journalists across various media organizations are strengthening their capacity to report business and economic issues with greater accuracy and depth. This follows a specialized journalism clinic organized by the Media Career Development Network in collaboration with the United States Consulate General, aimed at enhancing business and economic reporting skills. VOP TV's Matthew Ogunsuada was there and now reports.
Journalists from various media outlets gathered for a specialized training aimed at strengthening business and economic reporting, facilitated by the Media Career Development Network, MCDN, in collaboration with the United States Consulate General. Speaking at the training, Executive Director Lekon Otufodunrin, alongside other facilitators, stressed the importance of journalists deepening their understanding of economic policies, data interpretation, and financial literacy to enhance accurate and impactful reporting.
The idea is to ensure that there is a pass down of some of this knowledge and we can interact. So as much as possible, this is not a lecture. This is just some engagement, some reminders, some pointers, some things that can stimulate you to look at some of the things you are doing differently.
Today's session on business and economics reporting is especially timely. Just 2 weeks ago, we convened the U.S.-Nigeria Commercial and Investment Partnership Ministerial Meeting here in Lagos, reaffirming our 5-year Memorandum of Understanding to expand trade, investment, and private sector-led economic growth. The U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary Bradley McKinney and Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade, and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Odewole, co-chaired discussions at the event on how to deliver tangible, long-term improvements to the business environment and remove barriers to trade and investment in 3 priority areas, which are agriculture, digital economy, and infrastructure.
Here at the U.S. Consulate and the U.S. Mission in Nigeria, it's really important for us to provide support to journalists. Freedom of speech is one of the things that the United States is founded on. I'm not sure if many of you know, but this is the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. So we are, throughout the year, celebrating all of these things in our foundings that really made the United States what it is today. And one of them is freedom of speech that continues to be upheld by journalists.
The essence of a training like this is to enable us to understand some of the things that should be in our stories. So money, we follow the money, but that's what we do. That's the summary of what we do. We follow the money. So anytime the deal is struck, you hear that Julius Berger is building a road over there. If I were you, I would go there and find out exactly how much the contract is worth.
Participants at the clinic expressed appreciation for the hands-on sessions, describing the training as timely and practical, especially in helping journalists navigate complex economic issues and simplify them for public understanding.
When business journalists actually do well in their job and armed with enough data and the skills to actually process the information, then we can do better and more impactful reporting that even benefits the society and everyday people in the country.
Interplays of everything that happens in the economy, affects every household, affects every Nigerian. That's why we have to begin to hold our job in high esteem and take every data, scrutinize it, follow up and understand these things and speak to analysts if we do not really understand.
I think it's very important that some of the things that we learned today were taught to people who are on the front line of journalism. So today, basically one key takeaway is that facts are very, very important, and journalists generally play a huge role in how much development comes to Nigeria in the economic sector.
Following the training, journalists say they are better equipped to deliver insightful, data-driven and solution-focused business and economic reports that can contribute meaningfully to national development. Matthew Ogunswada, reporting for Voice of the People Television.
Matthew, thank you. On the foreign scene now, China has confirmed visa-free entry for citizens of Canada and the United Kingdom beginning Tuesday. The policy allows short-term visas without prior travel clearance. The decision follows recent visits to Beijing by British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. Both leaders held talks aimed at strengthening ties and easing movement between countries. Now, China's foreign ministry says the visa-free access will run until December 31st. Eligible travelers can stay for up to 30 days for business, tourism, family visits, exchanges, or transit. Officials say the move is designed to boost people-to-people exchanges and cooperation. It also signals Beijing's effort to expand diplomatic engagement beyond the United States. Take a short break. When we come back, business news. Business news now. Nigeria's capital importation rose to over $11 billion in the second and third quarters of 2025. The National Bureau of Statistics says this shows strong foreign interest in the country's economy. Most of the funds came through portfolio investments, mainly targeting the banking and financing sectors. The United Kingdom, the United States, and South Africa were the largest sources of these inflows. Second quarter saw $5.12 billion in inflows, almost doubling the same period in 2024. By third quarter, the figure climbed to $6 billion, marking continued growth and confidence from foreign investors. Foreign direct investment remained the smallest share, suggesting Nigeria still relies heavily on portfolio and other financial investments. Analysts say the trend reflects both opportunities and the need to attract more long-term investment. We'll take another break, and when we come back, sports news. Sports news. Nottingham Forest have appointed their fourth manager this season. Portuguese coach Victor Pereira has signed an 18-month deal with the Premier League strugglers. The move comes after Sean Dyche was sacked following a goalless draw against bottom-place Wolves. Pereira will now try to steer Forest away from the relegation zone with 12 games left. Pereira, 57, previously managed Wolves, Porto, and clubs in Brazil, Turkey, and China. He's known for rescuing teams in tough situations and now faces a big challenge in England. His first game in charge will be the next week's Europa League playoff against Fenerbahce. Forest fans will be hoping this appointment finally brings to stability the club's turbulent season. Well, in entertainment, musician David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, has formally withdrawn his legal petition for joint custody of his daughter, Imadi. The decision was announced following a tense hearing at the Lagos State High Court on Friday. The singer stated that he opted to discontinue the suit after opposing counsel made references to his deceased son during cross-examination. He described the courtroom exchange as a low blow and cited emotional distress as the primary reason for ending the case. Davido clarified that his intention was never to seek sole custody, but rather to formalize a joint arrangement and ensure structured access to his child. He maintained that while no party won the legal battle, his priority remains his daughter's long-term well-being. The withdrawal effectively concludes a large or a legal dispute with Sophia Mamadou, that has been ongoing since April 2024. For now, existing informal co-parenting arrangements will remain in place as the artist seeks to move forward. And that wraps it up for us on News. Thank you so much for watching. I am Vivian Uguche.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV.